try to talk to you as the eyes and the ears of the people. This press briefing is actually organized to be able to factually shed light on so many misinformations you have in the social media. And then along the way, we will try to be more clear. But if you need to be more clearer about certain points, we'll have a question and answer session. And then that is where you have your turn. If at all there are certain things that are not fully covered, we can also discuss them. But once again, I thank you for honoring this invitation. We have invited you here today to provide a clear, factual, and transparent update on the ongoing cement shortages and the recent price increase that have caused concern across the country. Jar Oil Company believes strongly in open communication, especially on matters that affect national development, livelihoods, and public confidence. Our commitment has never changed. Let us begin by confirming two truths that every Gambian knows. One, Jar Oil Company has consistently imported an adequate quantities of cement to meet national demand. This is a known fact, because ever since this measure is implemented, it has been years now, and we have not faced anything like this. Yes, from time to time you do have some little intermittent shortages, but nothing compared to this. Number two, we have always maintained an affordable factory price of $390 per bag, even when our own import costs increased. This is also the second fact, undeniable, and everybody can verify. We have not changed this price, we have not shifted blame, and we have not withheld supply from the Gambian people, never. The real cause of the shortage, port and channel limitations. We'll talk about that. The current shortage is not due to lack of supply from Jar Oil Company. The problem lies in our inability to berth and discharge vessels on time due to physical limitation at the port and its access channel. This is also a verifiable fact. And I think as journalists, from here you should start making your own personal investigation as to what we are saying, whether that's how it is out there. And when you get out of here, you can have open access to the Gambia Ports Authority, and I will give you certain hints that you can also verify online. When you Google certain names, you will see where it will lead you. The problem with the channel is that it is too shallow, brothers and sisters. The channel is too shallow. This channel, the last time we checked, was before independence. That is before 1965. That is when this channel was created. And now today we are in what? In 2025. By then, vessels of 9.5 meter draft are more than adequate for the Gambia. They can bring adequate supplies because the population was just below 1 million. Years back, the population keeps increasing. Infrastructure also is marching along. Until now, we are talking about almost 3 million population. So you'll agree with me that the channel doesn't hold anymore. The problem lies in our inability to berth and discharge vessels on time due to physical limitation at the port and access channel, as I said. One, the approach channel to the port of Banjul is restricted to 9.5 meters draft. What that means is, when you load a vessel, there is what they call the draft or the depth limitation. When you know how boats load, even if you look at our fishing vessels or these little canoes that travel Banjul Bara, when they load, the vessel seems to sink downwards. That's the draft. Now, these vessels, the port of Banjul The only limitation it has is only 9.5 meters. That might sound deep, layman's term, but it's nothing in the shipping industry. That's a very shallow draft. The vessels we are bringing now into the Gambia, these modern vessels, they need a limitation of about 11, 12, 13, up to 15 meters depth. Now, imagine you load a vessel of 60,000 metric tons. It needs a draft of about 13 meters for it to be able to cross that channel. That's the access channel to the port of Banjul. And then the channel is naturally telling that vessel, I only have 9.5 meters. More than these 9.5 meters, you cannot cross the channel. Now, what do? We are painfully engaged in lightering that vessel. What that means is we have a vessel, another smaller vessel, we call it the daughter vessel, that will sail to the mother vessel at the high seas of the Gambia, and then load from the mother vessel and sail back to discharge. It has to do a number of trips. It depends on the quantity. Sometimes it will do 3, 4, and sometimes even 5 trips before that vessel is lightened enough so that it can sail safely to Bath with maybe 30,000 or 35,000 metric tons from 60,000 metric tons. So this is the real challenge that the country is facing. And we all have to appreciate the fact that JOWL as a company, we all know, we have limitations in what we can do and what we cannot do. All we can promise to the people is to bring enough, adequate, and consistent supply to the country. Now, for that channel to be taken care of, to be able to handle these cargoes, that is not for JOWL to do. That is where the GPA comes in. That is the Gambia Ports Authority. They have to maintain a saleable draft into Banjul. And this matter has been on for years. We've wrote a series of letters, several, re-echoing the need to draft the GPA, to dredge the Gambia Ports Authority so that it can facilitate the sale of vessels like our cement vessels and many other vessels that have restrictions. And it has been going on like this for years without answers until recently. Thank God, there is a credible tender document that is out there looking for people who can dredge that channel. And hopefully that tender is closing, I think, this month, around the middle. And then we are hoping that before the end of the month, mobilizations will be done so that at least it will be dredged before end of December or around January. We don't know, but we have seen plans and actions taken by GPA to make sure that that channel is dredged. But now before then, the Gambia needs cement. Vessels have to sail in. Life has to go on. And it's because of that, we also invested in buying the daughter vessels we call MV Christine. That's JOWL's own. It cost us about $1 million to purchase it with a 4,000-ton capacity. We've bought another one just to make sure that, we do what we need to do as an investor. We bought a second vessel, which is expected to be delivered around or within the end of this month, December. Maybe by the time it arrives into the Gambia, it will be around early January, mid-January. We don't know if everything flows naturally. That also cost us millions of dollars with about a capacity of about 14,000 to 15,000 metric tons. Why did we do that? It's because we are committed. We don't just want to sit and fold our hands and say, well, it's not our problem. It's a dredging issue. Our vessels are at the sea. So if they cannot come, it's not our problem as an investor. But no, we went further and invested again in seagoing vessels, making it 2. So that with those 2 vessels alone, even if the ports didn't dredge, these operations will be faster, more efficient, and better. Because we can sail with those vessels, they will do only 1 lightering, and the mother vessels can sail in without having any significant delay. But before then, people need to know that these limitations are not JOWL's fault. And that's a fact and a verifiable fact that I want all of you to go out there and verify. I'll give you two names. On the 22nd of November, a vessel by the name of Brita Oldendorf arrived in the Gambia and is still sitting at sea with about 59,500 tons of cement, almost 60,000 tons of cement. Within 5 days, another vessel also arrived with 55,000 metric tons. That one is called GM Fortune. When you Google it and you look at the vessel's movement, it will show you the exact position where it is stationed today in the Gambia. They've been sitting at sea. We've been trying everything to lighten them with the vessel we have. But there are certain things that are beyond man himself. For example, act of God. We all know as Gambians who is born and bred in this country, at this time of the year we call the Hamatan season. It's usually very windy, especially at sea. Very, very windy. With heavy windfall, with high swells of the sea, that means the waves, there are certain limits. When it passes those limits, the vessels cannot do what we call STS, that is ship-to-ship transfer. That is taken from a mother vessel to a daughter vessel. Because of the sea is not steady and the wind is too high, it becomes very risky. You have to suspend operations and wait until it is calm again, you resume again. And all these on and offs at sea also adds to the delay, when the daughter vessels will be able to return and discharge. And this is exactly what we are experiencing now. And because we are new into STS, we are less than a year into STS operations, that is ship-to-ship transfers. We never factored that. It has never occurred to any one of us that at this time of the year, these are the actual natural conditions at sea, and STS will be almost impossible. Seamlessly, you have to have intermittent and frequent stops to allow the weather to calm. And this is exactly what we have been experiencing. And people now start saying, Jar Oil promised to supply, but they couldn't meet the demand. I think all of us had this. They couldn't meet the demand when we have 115,000 metric tons of cement sitting at sea. Over $8 million of Gambian dollars, American dollars, spent on them. Not to talk of the added expenses that are associated to it, which will not sigh of anything less than $10 million. Where did we go wrong? One, we have promised that we'll bring adequate and frequent. We have done that. 115,000 metric tons is almost about 3 million bags of cement. 3 million bags of cement. You cannot consume that in this country for 2 months, in 2 months. It's not possible. We know the market. We know the statistics. We know the data. If people don't know it outside there, we know it. We know the data. We know the Gambian data, its consumption level. Despite all these brouhaha, we know it. With 30,000 metric tons alone, you pump that into this market, the market is inundated. This we know, because we are into this business for years. We know what you can pump into the market and saturate it. With 30,000 metric tons, you convert that into bags, is enough for this country for at least a period of 15, 20, 25 days, up to about a month. Then the other balance is there as a buffer, just to make sure that it keeps flowing until when the next vessel docks. Now we are talking about 115,000 metric tons at sea, which you can verify. Google it. Those names, Brita Oldendorf, you Google it today and ask for the ship location. It will show you where it is standing at the Gambian waters. It might even tell you what it is carrying. Then you have another GM Fortune. It will tell you where it is standing today in the Gambian waters. It might even tell you how much it is carrying. And that will go to tell you that what we are telling you here are verifiable facts. So you have 115,000 metric tons sitting. By the 22nd of this month again, we're expecting another 55,000. So it means all these three vessels will meet each other here. You add that to the existing 115,000. When are we going to consume that? Over 4 to 5 million bags of cement. So where have we failed? Nature will catch up with any one of us. We cannot decide when the rain falls, so you cannot decide when God will have to release its wind. And this is exactly what is happening. So, going forward, people also talk about the price hikes. These price hikes, I've talked about it several times, but I think as journalists, you owe it to the nation, you owe it to the citizen to go out there on a crusade to try to investigate and find the culprits. Because these are all man-made. They are not factual. They are not reflecting the realities in the market. Tell me, what is the logic behind? You buy a bag of cement here for $390. Naturally, to go to Coastal Road here, you should be able to pay $10 each bag to take you there. We are transporters too. We know what is the actual cost of a bag of cement to transport within the combos. $10 is the real cost of it. Now you have unscrupulous drivers sitting here, they're hearing me, and they are charging $30 to $35 per bag to go to Coastal Road here. Even far out, next door by the main road, they charge $25. One bag of cement. Now where's the logic? That same driver will transport a bag of cement here to Soma, Jarasoma, 200 kilometers away for $30 per bag. Now tell me, where's the logic? Where's the economic logic in that application? As a company, do we have power to do anything about that? Simply no. We are not government. We are not regulators. We can't do it. Even though it hurts us, just a few days ago, a few drivers came to my office, and I was talking to them about this, and I was telling them that, look, what you guys are doing is wrong. You are hoarding the people. What you are doing is wrong. You understand? And it has to stop. You cannot be charging people to far out of $25 per bag. When you have a trip to Soma, you charge $30 per bag. And you think you are hoarding us, trying to sabotage us in a way to raise this price of cement so that the population will heap the blame on us if they don't look through the actual fact. And you think you are doing good. That is not true. You understand? That is not okay. What you should do is, why should you be charging $25 to Farato next door? And then you charge to Jarasoma $30. That is one thing you journalists should embark on a crusade to save this country. Save it in the way that you let out the truth out there so that the population, the unsuspecting people who don't know the real cost of what is happening, will know the facts behind the scene. Now, putting that aside, let's go to the retailers. All of you here who know the history of this cement brouhaha must have known that there was a big battle that was fought over this. The cement industry is divided between two. Those who import across the border a 32.5 hours cement, different from what we sell. What we bring in this country is 42.5 hours, and everybody should know what's the difference. With that high quality of 42.5 is what every project in this country, your specs are. You cannot use the other one, for obvious reasons, because the qualities are different. Of course, the prices also must be different. Now you go to these retailers who are bringing the 32.5R. When government came with an economic measure to say that as a nation, we also want our country to develop. We want our country to industrialize. We want to have more investors to come into this country with confidence that I can invest here without fearing that my investment will not be protected. On that note, we have 3 cement factories here producing cement. And I'll put it here. You understand? Before we let these companies to die, simply because some cheap cement is flowing into the country, you understand, without even paying the correct taxes at the border. At the end of the day, when we let this thing happen, these factories will die and there are citizens, Gambian citizens working in them in their hundreds and thousands. What do we do to save it? They came with a measure, which every responsible government does. I recently went to Lagos. It was an ECOWAS Trade and Investment Summit. I was surprised. On the whole, these measures are not only akin to Gambia. It is every country within West Africa is applying it. It was made plain there because every speaker in that conference, happens to be one of them. I participated in the panel discussions. And it seems like every member country complains about the same thing. Protecting their own national industries. And because of that, these hawks of free movement of goods is non-existent. It's non-existent. Not in any member state, including Nigeria, as the headquarters of ECOWAS. They are having the same issues. You understand? So if the government comes with this measure, it's for the good of the country. And that has no way distorted the prices. But now because of that battle of, they should let us continue doing what we are doing to the detriment of your national industries. And they are angry. They came with a scheme. And what is the scheme? They come into these factories. They buy the cement for $390. And they go down into their retail shops, those very people who are bringing these things across the border, and sell it for how much? $525 per bag. I even heard some of them are selling it at $600 recently. Where's the justification? You bought something for $390 and you went out there and sell it for $600 and even plus. How can you blame that on Jah Oil again? That price hike didn't benefit us because that is not coming into our pocket. The only margin coming into our pocket is the $390 margin. Whatever margin we have within that $390 range, that's what goes into our coffers. The $600 is going to some very unscrupulous traders. If people are not seeing this, you owe it to the people, as I call you in the beginning, as the eyes and ears of the country, to do your own findings and embark on a crusade to save the consumers. Jah Oil cannot be blamed for that. The very people we fought with thinks what we can do since we have lost the battle, let's make cement unaffordable to the population so that government will recapitulate. They would have only succeeded in that crusade if at all Jah Oil has raised its price to $600 or $500 or even $450. Then you can say, factually, yes, cement has become unaffordable. They let them bring in cement, but they are selling it at $500. But we are selling it at $390. They are the ones selling it at $600 or $500 plus. And you call that fair to the population? I think this is the most unpatriotic thing a Gambian should do to his fellow Gambian. And you stand in those so-called little social media platforms, those same people in their books, in their pages, and want to wear that shirt or that hat of patriotism who loves the country. But look at yourself. You are the one selling something to the population that they cannot afford. And now you shift that blame to Jar Oil. This is all because of Jar Oil. When our prices have not changed. Going forward, away from that, when it comes to the supply and availability, I already told you, our assurances to the public has never changed. We've never failed in our commitment. We've brought enough and adequate, is at sea. We are lightering it. They come in 4,000 ton, the small vessel, that's what it can bring. We'll continue doing this until the mother vessels lands or bathed. The moment that mother vessel bathes, I will want once more for you to come just one day without any briefing or talk. Just stand there and observe the amount of cement that is pumped out there. Within 2, 3, 4, 5 days, the market is inundated. Especially now that we have another plant in Farafenni that is operating. Now the folks in Farafenni and rural Gambia don't need to come to Banjul anymore. That plant is now operational. People are taking supplies from there for the rural folks. Now with that plant, with Buffalo the plant, is already too much for the Gambian market. Not to talk of when we add our new 200 bags plant that is over there, the new one, which we have not commissioned yet, which hopefully, maybe within the month, we might be lucky to commission that one. That means Jar Oil as a company, one company, has upgraded its capacity, its daily production, from 100,000 bags a day to 400,000 bags a day. This is about 5 times more than the Gambian consumption. We did this not only for the Gambian market, we are also trying to target regional markets. And whatever it takes, we'll do it. That shows so lahe bedi jay in Olof, kon am nga lu doy loy naan. And that is our strategy for this 2025. That's why we embark on this massive investment. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, once again, like I said in the beginning, we didn't falter, we didn't waver, and we didn't fail. There are certain things that are beyond us. The Ports Authority is not under our management. When they have a shallow draft, and it's their responsibility to deepen that draft so that every kind of vessel will sail into this country seamlessly. And that has not been achieved yet. I don't see how any honest person can heap that blame on us, unless if that person has some ulterior motives or agenda, which we understand. We are not seated here for everybody to support us or not to blame us. Blames will always come, but let them be based on facts. Even if it is debatable, base it on facts. At least don't do it for me, but do it between you and your Lord who created you. Because one day we are all answerable to him, remember that. Life is good for everyone. Everybody is doing whatever they want in the name of profession, in the name of democracy, in the name of freedom of speech. Yes, sweet, let's enjoy it. But you'll be accountable with every single word that you utter in this dunya. Lies or truth. And I think this is what many people forget. They think maybe they will never die. You will only come to realize that when you reach a certain age, that is when you start to reflect back. You wish to rewind those things and rectify them. Cannot be done. You can only repent. That repentance depends on Allah now to accept it or reject it. May Allah accept all of our repentance. Please do justice to the people. Go and investigate what is bringing this market distortion. Go also from here, go to the ports and see. Google those 2 names of vessels and see whether actually what Mr. Hydra is saying, whether those vessels are in the seas of Gambia. And it will show you its exact position and coordinates, where it is standing at sea. Apart from that also, go back and do your in-depth investigation. Every journalist should be a good investigator. Go in depth. Look at why this cement price is high. You'll be shocked to discover what causes it. It is a crusade against the consumers because they think in their own little minds, when we distort the price and make it unaffordable to the people, government will recapitulate. Governments don't operate that way. They don't operate that way. Once that distortion is not coming from Jah Oil, our price remains stable. Yesterday, day before yesterday, and today, with the same number on our invoices, you cannot blame us for that. Blame those retailers, those unscrupulous retailers who have connived among themselves that will make cement unaffordable. So that Gambians will shout. Of course, Gambians are shouting. They've succeeded in that. But is it fair? Very unfair. Do they deserve to be called patriotic Gambians? Obviously, no. And I can bet, you see, any business who is bent on making people cry, with your dishonesty and cheating habits, for your ulterior motives, watch it. They will melt right before our eyes here. I only hope they realize this and know this and backtrack on their crusade and return to Allah and do justice to the people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have for now. I just want to conclude by saying we remain committed to stabilizing cement market. That's our commitment. And we remain committed to that. We will continue importing adequate quantities. As we have demonstrated, I've told you 2 vessels at sea, which is about 2 to 3 months of Gambia's consumption. You can verify this. We will maintain the factory price at $390. If they want, let them sell it at $700. I left that to the people to solve that problem themselves by taking the bull head on. They cannot dictate what comes out of our pocket unnecessarily, because this is sheer wickedness. We will work closely with government to ensure dredging and port improvements are completed urgently, and I think that is already in motion. With that, I want to conclude by thanking all of you for coming to answer us. Nga mol ndelle nga journalist will be invite Jambi. Puri ne danku mol ma. Kadun diamo siata banko ka. Andu nyin diamo be kono ka Jah Oil le chodi ko. Atele lahiro di ko. Abe cemento nati no la janne men sita. Anda ba wafila price le me alonko wole nyanta na marché auto ne dunia la price woni njube andon ka nyimbe ke fo ntelde ning alatema be lorin wala suta anintili bari ko dol bije Jah Oil fana man sembo so woto bari janimbe fo lo ko dol to nsayta ndal ko bi la bi ko nga lahi do men di ko cemento natno la janen si Gambia supply nole Gambia la supply o mantel aman ko lentel ma mba taman siro itan dalale biri ñi meso wala ñi cemento masakunda ñi conditiono men nati ka fako ibe Gambia man Gambia factory le empawala wala ñi dika ski sembentuya pour itel financial no so that factory ko tan ani mo ko tawal men lafta ka na il naflo dundi Gambia ñang i fanal si hani pour kana ila naflo dundi je anita silala wala mansa kunda bulawla andu ye mansa kunda je dunia kuno wala muy la sarta foloti ni koy develop ka commencé hani ka to ni ko democracy and human rights mol ka America le jodi bari nga commencé wol fongol atel mu journalist leti alka moy le wato wati Donald Trump ni dunia bankol bebe nyola safar kelola abe namo taga bala kam bankol kan ka foy ko meñin namal nangam le lale kan ni la fewo fembe bolé ya pour kanadian dol sita 100% tarif 50% tarif mune osno fay on a diara le dron kada la banko la factory me alon ko wolle ko marchandise sifal dada america kono ibe fakanne kadu marchandise ka bo banku dolle to bi nakanje wo marchandise man tamano so abe keno la nyaadle gambie maison men ki exactly what is what Donald Trump fanambe wala keka wala nyindi ka tarifol la marchandise ka melbe dunna america banko kan isaje inimo banko si sino ye négociation ke kunke ka foyko al nga choko loku nal ko ngani namo bondi fo nga choko loku so that wo factual fana membe america isi baluno note be fakan ni bodo wala nani ECOWAS jam yala kayto me alon ko ndamngol le nga signé ECOWAS members ye même foje wala nyinti ko free movement of goods and people marchandise so tama ECOWAS bankol kono tanin nala mote bloqué la anin hadama dingol fana na tanin na ama me bagem tata Nigeria ECOWAS investment and forum wala sorta je tata panel sol kono je yela nata fuko yara molka mem fuko kajin tongol la marchandise sol be dunna bankol kono yara fan gambia mu domandi neti ñi banku bal fan ka stade Nigeria fon la anin ECOWAS bankol mume be I bebe the same thing le keka e ka ku kilimo leke ita sonna marchandise sifa dole bo banku dole bi ne la banko ka ye tonne kato mune ono ni e nyinin ka o mitino kono e ka même fo wala nyinti ko ila banko dingol le dépense lo le ke factory to meldo marchandise national da Dakar an ni koy marchandise ol bulay dunnan karo karala ro factory be falale ay la banko dingol la nyaato tate woto ndenga même foye wala nyinti nal ko nyin sarto e tama alni luwale na mela lon kanin na banko la luwal fanan ni la ini la conditional fanan ni la interest ol tata nyola isulan kuol bayire luwa dada jana yemol signendal bari banku kilingol me alon ko yo luwa signé ila sula kuol ila tamene la banko ka ani wol man tanyola waliyo be kilale an wole waliyo be kirim bi ECOWAS mume be birin santo fo duma so nyinde kukutati an laftele berate lem banko tlolti ani nyalti alkarisajke ka kol bonyoto pour mil latal la ikela moyal la alsi boye nyoto bitata baki kabri o mezo ke ani sayintema ay sanje dandansi monena mani sifaje to nyala time to time dileres ka sodo jang dileres ka sodo baro buka ke serious thing ti aka clair mo buka fem moy ko ten simondo flola ro mo buka fem moy barin dal fana na miscalculation o kete dame wala nyinti anu gambia be momo be boring yi wuluta gambe jang ikuluta jang nyin sango na sita nyin sango nyin wato la in government di hamatan season fonyo sembo ka wara baki fonyo sembo ka wara baki surtout bakono so ni dal la nyin kulul nata abenda nyin wato fe kulum fula be lorim batte maje kilindo is brita oldendorf memba kono bi alsa google no aliya jubi abe lorin ndami gambe kono bi tono wuli tan woro semento about asutiyata la wole ba kono yana do fana sore kaf me GM Fortune MVGM Fortune tono wuli tan lulu ani lulu o ba kono ni ñul be kafu ñew mata taw toni wuli keme anen tan lulu o mu gambe la kari saba semento leti ni ajum koy gambe la kar saba semento lon tel ngani marché olon ne diamole ka siabar marché mo ngara toni wuli tan saba ni o pambe ni marché ko no dron e fankalo ne ko tonya fenne be kire wot mo le ka start ka modol be lori sira karol la be client ni no la and wuli tan saba dron nga wala pompe so say wo toni wuli dantol jamal men to komando wolin ki natle dron wolle ka ke molla backup ti pour ni nga kolia kool soto wala bina wuli keme wuli tang ani lul wobi ja ñin dijama karo nay tili muang ani fulo soto toli muli tan lul ni lulo fanam bisilo kanna wonya dafa dala jam wobi la la ñin dol kan sontel nga lahi do men di ko mba jama nati la de anda si Gambia be sino le ngaw timbandile nga jama le nati anu nga men nati jikita ni kay Gambia be sile na price of na makafu kunun ko anin kunun anin bi na price kilingo dal si tan wuli keme saba anin tan konondo boto hani bintel ka wafi wala ni factory to jam barasi kaba kuya mol ma bi baki nabe wonya mota munati na mol be semendo sana dal si keme worola dal si keme lulu kata fu dal si keme woroto katu ngaw be moy lañu maso lañu wati hani janni wati be sila fam watu wati dal si keme lulu mol ka semendo wa fa la jam hani janni ñu wato be sila bin sinaje do mandim fale mbadi won ka simenti bodo bondi janka samba jara soma kilometer keme fula asutiata yedal si tan sabajo boto je o bodo kilo yo duri factory to jang kata fara to jang ni funda sila bakal e ki charge muang anin lulu boto kilo ni bida costa rodi ka foy fu dal si tan saba anin lulu yo la luwaju malekan simendo la price o jang del be ngalon because ndel mu transportality ni la essence ni la ferel be bonde je dal se tang boto asa sambe kombo kono jang na siata manyana tambila tang ani lul kombo dawda ite tangobula ye tanin lulobula ikata fo tan saba ani lul boto killing bari ita driver killing ni ta pitin jaye boto dunni je wala jam fon ye boto dunni je ko nyoko mbita somale iko wole ko tan saba basé tan lulu boto killing jela nyam diamu tata killing bari ok al nga mu da tan sabola ne tan sabola keme saba tan lulo kam be keme nani muan sotola afutati la bidu god keme nani ani muan sayda julo mune wasamba keme wor ni mol malon te sa fringale bi biri ñi ciment kelo dunda ñi julol membe ka fa mel retailers mel ka dasa wafi wolle bo business o kono no ital damangol lam kabri alon ko kelo ñinde nga misle because mu ganna mo jonu man say mbuta andu man say même fo africa den dunia be katama wala indi kanna industrial support pour ita fanansi barkano ñam gambe fanay ta ñaato gambe fanay wala meso dundi bayru nga kelo mboyta je ntel fanan ku kilim bembulle me alon ko motem bondino la woto wala monti al nga cemento da koleandi ni gambe non astata ko kolema doron ibe wulale be wurla andu ni wulte wurta doron to mando bago masa kunda be wulale ye ku kije so nin kumu idamol na rakambe ite cemento wa sanjang ika cemento sanjang dal se keme saba tankonon ni asamela dulado ikambenda ika wafi tan keme lulo fay ka fen la kan sain fa ngamo e keme woro e jele bayndi sai inyininka fa jaawel yalla cemento ka fuleba na koy ko ha du kare journalist fulema ala kisi ala file invoice odi na katu fofo sandiro san kijang nka invoice le dila nka receipt le dila o receipt ko non na price obe safere ngapala ali kisi hani fadi no man law kan ita man sila alal iko ibendel le kele kan bari instead ita ka menkele ja oil iman tar wol jihadi ka ita ka mol le jihadi katu wolle kati ita ya iba sanna munana mol ke nya kari jela ibuka jefo way njahal baki menyanda kala wala ndi benga kambe nga kafu nyoma nga wuli jihadola pour ka make sure ko tilimbale ay bojam andatel journalist sol drone so tilimbale ay bojam kata telle ka diamu mole atelle kata molia kela moyela atelle so bonni do hanal ma ke jaawel la ko kama katun telo man tanake na price man fali barala ke mbadi ngol membe sirin jang melbe so ren simento la e ka wafi mel keme woro al ngaki wala ko kama anu ñi mo dandawol membe ñinna ijama bal bi je ni jube me ya ko dimin na fa warande ni banko dingol fawde banko dingol be konle sonda bari jamal be biye banko dingol fawde alta kiskisiro la nganku ke price control del jaawel takeno pour ka fogo ha mbe price control le kala niya sa mol bulu keme saba tanko non dola iba wa fala keme nan ni dal ci tanela wala dal ci tanel lulu man sa leo sembo so man sa fana nyanta lola le ay kuke wono in crisis membe kirin crisis fulale poro la dinom balia kurungote dunnola wala buskulungol candi bako no je ibe sirinje fanyo fana mbe kere nyi sangola nyi wato do ilafta jindiro kala nyaamo kulumba kono itanola ikake wati la fanyo lota dami nim fanyo wulta ko te ye fanyo ko te ye batu fo ko le steady ko ten yana start ko ten obe o ala la kerolti man kuno woto poro fana pride dinon wotantel la do ko dum poro la do ko men nyantantel manga kele nga simendo nata nyama nga investment ke pour factory saba ntel mo kilimo nga na capacity bondi boto wuli keme lungo kuno nga sama fa boto wuli keme nani lungo kuno inshallah janna nyin sama banna kadum farafenya ta folotale ani boto keme luwolu ni alande lañ boto keme wuli keme to luwolu boto wuli keme fula luwolu ntel lañu factory fulo membe farafenya ani njang wolle bo bondi la ni nga kutama do la ka mel ngo boto wuli keme fula la ngoti abekala boto wuli keme nani Gambia to domonola. It's not possible. So tel nga nakato dango kele. Nga ko be kele. Bari fo mol fana wuli yela attentional focus mol kan melon ko leme taka nyama. Mel me taka nyama sabale. Driver masakunda nyanta wulay regulate ani transport union. Bankuta keri memman tarifo soto. Hani Gambia jam fan Gambia transport union ye tarifo sotole bari yo tarifo am ndako yamdole sa ya fara ifan son tarifo ina wala be do ko la say banku buka tawu nyam o mu kilenti fula nyaw iko simento mu essential commodity même essential wala ndi mo la suulobe mento wala price o masa kunda ka nyanda kaf a regulate le wala ka hakilo to wato baki ni tanara jaawale ngoy ko ale nyini ngal kasmendo wa fi jela ngoy ko dal ci keme sama tank konon idara ritela ya yela investigation lol kije yesmendo sanje aje ko ya fama wuli keme lulu wala keme wor inyanda lolé simflo la ya fay ko hani nyinde kala ima dalilo soto ima excuse soto ima hani fende soto membe keren no la wala ye control ya fay ko mukk alla ritelo na tambe dañ nambe alamano la leka ya welto keno wala fula nyawti saba nyaw ntel mu clientol ti poroto ja wel tati wala dino anala navigability with the proper draft wala ala kulon yanda dinol men soto la mo solo da men wotantel la do koti o poro la do koti bari na safir jamal kele pour yo poro dinondi ama soto no bari mbeji kirin ko nyinin silola idel fanay simfa kendol leta ye tendal ki bande be mol nyinin ka melba poro nyin dinon nay ko do fang landi karala le so wala mbeji kirin nyin nal ko jani ba fala january fo january be fal to mando bato do ko be kelale kat ye lahido di wala andu nga kay do fana njele ya safi men advertisement onyi mbadi won nyinem ko moti lafta men ko lalma bi wala nyinti problème be kering jaawel la problème ten ali nga ndam wol fana njube ba kon atel dum mealo ngatel dem gambe nyaati atel mi la tulolti atel ka sindima alta kisi lola ale tonya itandi mol la wala fi sara mol be siri la plateforme olto yedo mo roki foy konon faat hani journaliste o fontete de ibi ila miral kumol fula men diate ba fula bari me mira nyin ko isi o keno le kadum be démocratie le kon ani freedom o bari ye kuma kan wo kuma kan bondi i dakuno ala be skit ala be ikiti ni la anni hana do yata nyaawo nyaaya la mon kan ini ala be kiti la wala le wala na molsi mira ko bibe sotorin bibe diaring adiamo be diari fe bari wati be sot lay be konti bolal molsi hakilo to baki ngani ne soto mem fula man ka kamoto niara nga ku bula je ni question and answer sita maybe al sin hakilo blandi surwa kamoto luma don bamtu rek moy ne mbokay moy ne dañ den ofité yeen journalist yi pour mëna waxtaan ak yeen parce que semaine bi te semaine bi fu mu nekk ni ñepa ngay wax ne li la ne la jaawel ñoo waxon fi ni ñoo diglé won fi ni amuton way nan nit ñi laajte seen bop len depuis bu ñuy wax jaawel di jaawel ñun musuñu am problème semaine fi deug la ken matut légui la ñu am some little operational hitches lool ay few days la ñu cover ko waat ken du dégat dara ben ci yoyu mo nekk ni tay te li dafa tax tamit légui investment buñ def ci biir semaine bi yaakar nañ ne Gambia nañ waxaat benen commodity wa buñ waxaat semaine su fekkee ne juntukaay yu ñu wara am yeb government bi tamit jox nañ ko juntukaay moy lan ñu hotel port bi parce que port bi du suñu alal client rek lañ fa Gambia before 1965 moy channel bi buñ ko créé Gambia bi fekka population am is below 1 million time bobu non gal yo xamni 9.5 meter draft lañ soxla yu ndaw lañ ba pare tamit su gal bu ndaw ñëwaan sax kenn du wax affaire draft because gal yu ndaw daan ñëw indi supplies nit ñi bari wuñu won té ñu ngi 2025 population bi dafa more than triple and quadruple ba nga xamne gal yoyu nonu nga xamne 9.5 meters draft lañ soxla Gambia soxlatu ko su fekkee ne kay da nga bañ pour indi problème ci market bi su da nga bëgg indi adequate and good price fo nga indi gal yoyu non gal yu mag yi te gal yu mag yoyu non dañ nit xotaay dooree ko ci fukk ak ñaari mètre ba fukk ak juróomi mètre ci xool ñun suñ port bi fii moom juróom-ñeenti mètre ak juróom rek la xóotul dara léegi ñun suñ gaal suñ fekkee ne indi nañ enough supply jënd nañ ñu ngi indi ñaari gaal tey jox naa leen seen tur yi benn mu ngi tudd Brita Oldendorf mu ngi indi almost juróom-benn junne tonne ci semaine mu ngi taxaw ci géej bi soo leen ko googlee di ngeen gis fu mu taxaw ñu indi beneen ñaaral mu ngi tudd la naan GM Fortune MVB GM Fortune mu ngi indi juróom fukk ak juróomi junne tonne ci semaine boo boolee yëpp mu dem téeméer at fukk ak juróomi junne ci tonne loolu ñetti weeri consommation ni Gambia la kon ñun léegi lan lañ def wrong indi nañ adequate over almost $10 million is at stake at sea mu fa taxaw soo boolee all the costs together 10 million ci dollar loo xam ne ñetti weer la laa jël Gambia bi pour ñu seyal ko ci marché bi teg si tamit weer bu ñu nekk nii muy décembre su amee ñaar fukki fan ak ñaar beneen mu ngi war a agsi ak juróom fukk ak juróomi junne te boobu tamit am na beneen bu ko war a toppa mu ngi ñëw early January ak juróom fukk ak juróomi junne so kon ñun luñ promise ñu ngi koy def ñu ngi indi lu doy waaye indi nga lu doy waaye mënut a dugga ñàkk a dugga boobu mooy ne yoon bu gaal yi dee jaare yu ñu ooy access channel bi xóotut bind nañ ay leetar yu dul jeex ay at di wax port bi ne dimbale leen ñu xóotal géej boobu noonu foofu noonu ngeen drej ko munuñ koo def ba sant yàlla ci taay yi gis naa ne jéene nañ kayit ay bataaxal di invite Gambians ak non Gambians pour ñu ñëw ñu jël contract bi ñu jox leen ko pour ñu xóotal ko te am nañ yaakaar ne xëj na balaa ñuy wax end of January xëj na nañ ko drej su boobaa coow bi kenn du ko dégga parce que investment bi on the ground is enough luñ invest ci biir dëkk bi ci semaine doy na affaire semaine ci lañ koy suul fii kenn du ko déggati mu neex nit ñi mu naxari nit ñi ci lañ koy suul kenn du ko déggati su fekkee ne dredge nañ channel boobu noonu ñun lu ñuy indi ci gaal mu ngee ñëw nu mu war a ak ñetti factories yi nii yu ñu am nga xam ne léegi suñ capacité dem na ci téeméeri junne saaku ci bés bi ba ñeneen téeméeri junne saaku ci bés bi loolu Gambie mënu koo lekk mënu koo consume ci lañ koy suul waaye nag wax bi ñaar la nit yaa ngi laajte ne li tax ciment seer parce que ñu bëri understand uñ dynamics yi ñoom dañ foog ne Jah Oil moo seeral ciment ñun seeraluñ ciment ñun suñ ciment luñ ko daan jaayee ñetti téeméer ak juróom-ñeent fukk benn saaku ba léegi ñu ngi koy jaayee loolu léegi li tax nit ñi di ko jëndee juróomi téeméer foofu la nit ñi war a investiguer ñu xam ko te ñii ñooy ooyee seen bopp ay doomi Gambia even though ñu ni neen xamante nañ fi ne yes am na ay doomi Gambia ñu ne koy def unfortunately te lu tiislu su fekkee ne ku bugg a sa réew nga comme ñun luñ buggee suñu réew di sacrifice foog naa doomu réew bu nekk da nga war a sacrifice sa réew yow tamit ëllëg ñu ne nga mun naa taxaw nga puugaroo ne defal naa li suma réew waaye déedéet yow nga nekk di jooyloo sa réew ci kaw ne am nga doole pour def ko lan mooy sa doole mooy ne yaa ngi ubbi sa bitik yaa ngi jënd fii ciment di ko retail waaye di ko jaayee juróomi téeméer wala juróomi téeméer lu si tegu bi maa ngi dégg sax ñeneen ñi ñu ngi jaayee juróom benn téeméer foo ko wéerloo ko ci dara su dut fen lu ko waral ma wax leen ñaari yëf suñ driver yi ma dooree ko ci ñoom bu yàggul rek maa ngi amoon yenn driver yi ma doon waxtaanal fii wax leen ay kàddu mais li ngeen a nekkee fii di def du yoon da ngeen ko war a bàyyi waaye loolu ñun wax lañ si mun at yedda waaye mënuñ la naa contrôle ne by force ni ngeen koo def loolu liggéey government la ñoom ñu war a put a measure and a control mechanism kan mooy mun a laka la xel mu nee jëlee ne yow nga jéenee fii saaku ciment war koo yóbbu Jaara Sooma nga xam ne 2 téeméeri kilomètre la lu ko jege ngay caajee $50 pour benn saaku nga jéenee benn façon ni saaku boobu fii yóbbu ko faaraato fii nga xam ne soo jéenee ci tali bi rek yaa ngi faaraato nga ne $25 ñaar fukk ak juróom loolu xel mën na koo jël déedéet su fekkee ne da nga ko yóbbu Coastal Road wala ay jaabang ak yooyu léegi-léegi ñuy caaj la ba ñett fukk ak juróom $35 benn saaku nga xam ne doo ko fay sax pour dem Jaara Sooma even base nga xam ne fële la juróom fukki dalasi la benn saaku li tax ñoom ñuy def loolu yéen journalistes yi yéen a war a jóg on a crusade ngeen investigate li ngeen put pressure points wherever you have to put that pressure point ngeen make sure ne boneel boobu noonu mujjee na fi parce que ñu ñuy gaañ askan bi la te yéen askan bi ngeen fi nekkal parce que loolu ngeen di ooy seen bopp ne askan bi ngeen fi nekkal te yaakaar naa ne askan bi ngeen fi nekkal jóg leen si ngeen taxaw si loolu benn la ñu dem léegi yow nga jël saaku bi fii yow retailer bi retailer si ñu si uppa doole yëpp dañ am seen trogi boppa nga jéenee fi saaku bi 390 mooy ñetti téeméer ak juróom-ñeenti fukk fereem pour mu àgga sa bitik ci biir kombo bi fii $10 la wala fukk ak juróomi dalasi dafa dépend ci ban boor ci kombo bi war nga ko ubba yow nga jéenee fi semaine bi at sa trok nga xam ne essence nga faa def trok bi tam liggéey mu am si dara yow tam nga am si dara borom trok bi $10 mooy fii bi nga jéene ko fi nga yóbbu ko sa bitik mu diggee la ñaata du ñeneenti téeméer léegi li tax nga siy teg $200 def ko $600 saaku maalo bu nit ñi di dundee nga xam ne moo amee bakkan live la doo si teg even $50 laa jël jaaykati maalo yi waaye nag soo gisee ñu def ko dafa am lu tax ñoom nañ foog ne Jah Oil la ñoo xeex Jah Oil as a company suñ bëggee semaine ñun duñ dee jënd retail fii lañ koo jëndee ci factory bi 390 soo gaañut ñu waaye askan bi nga xam ne ñoo ko bokk ñu war leen a protect ñun yëpp ñu saaf leen yow ñooñu nga nekk di mbugal naka nga leen a mbugale nga jëndee fii 390 nga yóbbu sa bitik ngeen mankoo yani neen ne nañ ko jaay juróomi téeméer lu si tegu wala bi juróom benni téeméer ñu seeral semaine bi so that ni ñuy jóg ñu yuuxu government jóg moo tax soo xoolee toujours rek ci seen campagne yi bàyyi leen xel yéen a may dégg naa nekk in social media price ciment lañ dégg naa wax price ciment kenn mënu koo jënda government bi dafa war a bàyyi lii lañ war a ubbi bunta bi suñ ubbee bunta boobu tey sax ma wax leen maa leen gën a xam Sénégalese market bi man price bi foofu tey lu faa trend xam naa ko ci seen cheap quality bi laa de 32.5 bi soo ko indee tey nga teg si $30 VAT tax bu nga xam ne moom lañ war a fay ci border bi boo koy génnee foofu noonu nga indi ko fii mun laa dikkee $420 dégg nga loo si sa bénéfice de xam naa su boobaa moom du si ñeme teg $100 wala $200 su boobaa xam nga ñaata lay demee te du kenn du ko mën a jënd te boobu 32.5 la 42 bi moom duñ ko mën a laal ñun buñ dee jaay boobu mënuñ ko fee indi soo leen ko waxee sax dañoo xanaa da ngaa xaru kan ñaata laa ko jaayee parce que boobu lu ne naa dikkee dafaa ñëw close to 500 nga teg si sa lifin sa profit xanaa loolu kon ñu dem boori 700 ci boobu so that's not the solution xëy na lu ñu yaakaar rek mooy ne suñ ubbee waat bunta bi nañ defaat lu ñu daan def nga indi fukki troc nga fee ñeneenti troc beneen bi yëpp mu dem sa poos nga jox nga wanteer ko audit report bi ñu ñëpp gis nañ ko fi about $1 billion in cement importation cross border importation bi ñoom loolu lañ registré ne loolu lañ xayma ne moo dugga soo ko xoolee ci tax ñaata lañ fekk ci books yi waxuñ 25 million ndax lii moo war yows because of sa personal interest yow kenn nga bëgg a gaañ askan bi yépp pour jooyloo leen ba pare nga taxaw fële comfortably lii yëpp jaaxoyal la yàlla muy gis te di àtte bàyyi nañ ko àtte boobu te na àtte mu set wécc gis nga mbooleem ko am sa business nga am lu la yàlla dénkaane nga ne danga koy téye di ko jooyloo nit ñi wala nga siy def leneen pour mbugal wala am na loo see ut pour mbugal yàlla du booba buur de day able ñun yëpp jox naa leen mun naa leen a promise fii te yàlla ñu yàlla may gudda fan ñu seet ko yëpp dafay seey fii nañ si teg suñ bët xanaa ñu change seen yoon waaye yëpp ay seey so li ngeen war a def as journalist jóg leen ngeen dem investigate ñun yëpp ñu jóg ñu fight this crusade this bad behavior activité bu bon bi nga xam ne suñ yaay yi suñ papa yi suñ brothers yi suñ sisters yi la ñoo jooyalu njaaweel dañoo naxarloo suñ xol rek waaye jooyaluñu waaye ñuy jooy dëgg mooy askan bi na ñëpp jóg ñu taxawu askan bi ñi ci jikko bu bon bu ñu nekk nii ñu jénnee ko fii su soobee yàlla comme lu ñu leen promis woon mooy ne jox naa leen firnde yi ne indi nañ fi enough cement nañ ko def lii is a minor hiccup la rek nañ ko solve te after this hiccup ñu ngee ñëw with a new strategy am na gaal bu es bu war a ñëw xëj na in December bu ñu jëndawaat teg ko ci suñ gaal bi mu nekk ñaari gaal affaire yi lightering bu yàgga bi duñ ko amati fii parce que dafay gaaw that's number one. Number two also production foo wiide ci biir Gambia bi di nga gis ciment nu nga ko bëggee gisee te suñ price xanaa world market price bi change waaye ñun duñ ko change benn presse du tax ñu change ko fuñ taxaw lañ taxaw ñoom su leen neexee seen digganteeg yàlla dañ ko jaay 600 yàlla na leen àtte askan bi ku jooyloo baadoole rek di nga jooy dina la jël time tuuti waaye di nga jooy ji lii laa am pour wax leen jërëjëf. Today in the Gambia, these 115,000 metric tons is in the Gambia. I'll come. It's in the Gambia. Now, the very challenge is, how can we get that 115,000 metric tons in the factory so that these things will flow? The complications surrounding that, that's what I have highlighted. I told you, number one, if I told the access channel was deep enough, we would have not been discussing this. This press conference might not even happen. But we are having this discussion because there's a restriction, number one. Number two, the daughter vessel, I told you, they usually shuttle back and forth to lighten that mother vessel. Just sailed off these early hours of the morning. It came with 4,000 metric tons, which we have already pushed out in the market. Now he's going to bring another one. So, in reality, if you see these non-products happening, it's because Whenever it brings a load, we push that out. It goes again, takes a day or two, brings another one, we push that out until when it is ready to come in. So to answer your question, as of yesterday, maybe when we were here, you would have seen, I wouldn't answer that question. You would have just stood there and look over there and you will see things flowing out. But unfortunately, it finished, that load it brought was exhausted yesterday night, and it is gone already there. It is already there at sea, at the high seas, loading again to bring a second one. So this is the situation. You know, I have to be, I've tried to be very factual and plain, because the reason why I call this thing is to articulate and to say everything beyond all reasonable doubts, and to also, like questions you have posted to me, to expect similar questions, so that when you leave this room, if anybody asks you about the cement situation, you have tons of things to say. So this is the situation. Once that access channel, if the access channel was not the issue, we'll not be having this issue. The reason why we are blaming on the access channel, because the access channel is shallow. And also let people remember this. I forgot to say this. The reason why we are bringing this kind of vessel is to the best interest of the Gambia, price-wise. When you want to play with the economy of scales, you have to maximize import, the volume, so that you can maintain a price that is affordable. This is why we are able to maintain the 390, even though people out there are selling it at 5+. If we have to go back, which we are thinking seriously, to revert back to those smaller vessels, we could do that. Availability will be there. People, the next cry will be price, because the landing cost will be expensive. And we don't want to hurt anybody. We want to make life easy for everybody. We want to make cement affordable for every Gambian, because we have seen that Gambians are fully focused now on building. Because if everybody wants to build a house, either for yourself or your family, it doesn't make sense, and it is even wrong to make that cement very expensive for them. You are cutting short their ambition. You are discouraging people not to do the same thing. So this is why we are going for this big vessel. It's to the best interest of the country. And inshallah, after this hiccup, we have come with a solution. And the solution is, we have invested in a second vessel. Even if you have to do lightering, it will be limited to only one lightering, not multiple lightering. And the mother vessel can sail with those two vessels. That's number one. Number two, also, we have spoke to our suppliers also to tell them that temporarily, before this channel issue is sorted out, we will reduce the volumes. It will come at a cost. At us, we will swallow the cost for the interest of the people. We will swallow that cost. If I tell the cost today, what it will cost us to add it on top of that bag, people will say, oh, no, that's not acceptable. But I will tell you, it is coming at a cost, at our own cost. But we'll try to swallow that cost, because we believe it is temporal. Because the port is working diligently, and they are moving very fast to make sure that they drag that channel.
So I want to ask.
Yeah.
Now, this situation, what is your projection?
With this situation, our projection is.
And also, I mean, you have highlighted your challenges. You have other players who are doing the same. You are playing the same cards. Like, what are they doing to offer? Do you have any idea what they are doing to offer the situation, for to address the situation in their own way? Because of course you have highlighted your own side, but at the same time, it is not only Jaoil into this bank. There are other companies. Do you have any idea what they are doing?
That's a good question. I wish I could speak for them. I wish. This is why throughout my speech, I never mentioned them, even though I know they exist. But that is for something I know. Government has called them to hear from them. They've given them their own version of things. And it is for them to blow that trumpet for themselves. It will be wrong for me to start speaking for them. But I'm sure, according to what I heard in the True Divines, is they have also taken steps, concrete steps, to also complement. You understand? All of them are also investing to broaden their production capacity. Both of them. That one I know for fact. Gasem is broadening. Salam also has already invested. In fact, it is about to conclude the work in a very short period of time. So I know that they are also doing something, but I couldn't go deep into that. I can only speak of Jawel. Thank you.
The first one, that is your projection to when this.
The projection is, it will be difficult to say, but it will be very, very short. Because right now, as we are speaking, I told you the daughter vessel is returned. Another vessel we hired is expected here today to assist that daughter vessel to make it fast. So we believe with these two of them doing it, under normal circumstances without bad weather. Please note, we are at this time of the year, weather is very unpredictable, especially with the swells and winds. But with normal circumstances, with normal conditions, we'll be able to sort this thing with the two vessels all arriving and doing the same thing, maybe within a week, 10 days max. This thing is over. But let's pray to God that it maintains calmness at sea. But that also plays a very important role. Most of the delay is because of that. Because when the sea is not steady, the wind is high, you have to stop operation and wait. And those wait times could take hours sometimes. So this is the situation. I believe I have satisfactorily answered that. Thank you.
Are you guys done?
Because I like it that you don't have any follow-up questions, then maybe I have been very detailed. Yes. No, I told them that Farafenni is working.